this will be the second video for ellipse, right? So how to sketching an ellipse. So but this is not in the standard form. This is a general equation, right? If you observe carefully, that actually you can see that the coefficient for x square and y square is not 1 to 1, right? Is the ratio of the number, the coefficient is not 1 to 1, and this tell you that it somehow is not a circle, right? A circle will be having a coefficient of x square, y square, which the coefficient is, the ratio is 1 to 1 unit, right? But this is slightly different. So but it's also, you need to prove that you haven't know that this is an ellipse. Is this an ellipse? We don't know, right? So we know that ellipse can be written in the form of a standard form, right? A standard form. So as long as you can write in this form, this will definitely show this is an ellipse. So this is the first thing that you must verify, right? You must show that this equation, can be written in this standard form of ellipse. Then you can very confirm that, or you can show that this is actually an ellipse. So now, how to reaching this standard form here? So we need a knowledge for completing the square, right? From the quadratic. So let's do some completing the square for this general equation here, right? So okay, we will start with rearranging the 9x squared with the negative 54x here, right? We're going to rearrange it. We're going to group the x together and the y together, okay? Plus with 16y to the power of 2, right? Minus with 64y. And of course, the constant without x and y, I will moving to the right hand side, negative y here. So this is the first thing that you must do. You group the x together and the y together. So for each of this bracket here, I'm going to do completing the square. So before I doing completing the square, you have to understand that to do completing the square, the coefficient for x square must be 1, right? So for this case here, I'm going to factorize the 9, okay? Factorize the 9, then I have x square minus with 6x, right? So, and for this one, you must also have 1 for y square before you do complete the square. So you have to factorize the 16. So you have y square minus with 4y equals to negative 1. This is the third thing that you must do. First, you rearrange this, and for make sure the coefficient for x square is 1. So by factorizing, so later, and you start completing the square, alright? Do completing the square. Penyempurnaan kuasa 2, right? Completing the square. So how? Very simple. So to do completing the square, usually your school teacher already teaching you, we just adding a 2 bracket, right? So adding this, and for this we have 16. 16. So y square minus with 4y plus with bracket square minus with this one square equates to negative 1, right? So what I'm doing, I just adding the square, right? Because if you minus these two identical, you are getting 0 and back to the original, right? So how to do complete the square? Then this is the way. X square minus 6, adding the 2 square. So what is the number inside here? What is the number here? It's the b, right? The b. The negative 6 divided by 2. I take negative 6 divided by 2 for both of this, right? Which I getting negative 3. And this also I getting negative 3, right? I will getting negative 3. As I take negative 6 divided by 2. Divided by 2, I getting negative 3. And for this also, I have to take the b, right? The b, the negative 4 divided by 2 for both of this. Alright? Negative 4 divided by 2. So it means that negative 4 divided by 2 for both of these. So I will getting negative 2, negative 2. So this is the way of doing completing the square. So later on, I'm going to combine all these three, the first 3 term, a square minus b plus bx plus c, so into a complete square, which is a complete square minus with a number here. So for these 3, it will become x, and the negative 3 will be inside here, and negative 3 square, you are having 9. I have to do completing the square for this. So hope you still remember. So 16 So now for this case, you have complete square minus with something. So and for this 3, so I can write as y negative 2 square. Negative minus with negative 2 square, we have 4, which is equal to negative 1. So we have done with complete the square, right? We have done complete the square. So the next thing what we should do is I multiply the 9 expand, okay? I am actually expanding back into the bracket. So 9x minus 3 square minus with 81, right? Plus with 16 y minus 2 square and negative 64 equates to negative 1, right? So now I'm getting nearer to the standard form, right? So I just rearranging here. So 9x minus 3 square and the 16 y minus 2 square with all the constant moving going to the right hand side, which is you have negative 1 plus with 81 plus with 64, right? You have negative 1 plus with 64 plus with 81. Okay, and see what is the value. All right, you are getting all this, you are getting equals to 144, right? You are getting 144. So okay, I'm going to write here, and finally you have 9x minus 3 square plus with 16 y minus 2 square is equals to 144. So we are starting completing and getting nearer to this form, right? So now our job is to make sure the right hand side is 1, but the value here is 144. So what we should do, we divide the whole equation, we divide both sides by 144. Everything we divide by 144. So divide by 144, and 16y minus 2 square divided by 144, and of course this is also divided by 144 to make sure it's in the standard form of this equation here. So then we have 9, 16, 144. 144 divided by 9, you're getting 16. So x minus 3 square over with 16 and plus with 16, 9, right? So y minus 2 square over with 9 equals to 1. So as you see that I have already showed that this is an ellipse, right? This is an ellipse. Why? Because you can written in this form, right? X minus h square, y minus k square, a square, b square equals to 1. And the value under the x here is bigger. So means that, what is the meaning here? Meaning that the major axis of the will be horizontal major axis, or we say that the major axis is parallel to the x-axis here. So this is what after we show, we can see that we can see the shape of the ellipse through the standard equation here. As long as we can write the general equation here and transform it by using some complete the square, we can write in this form. This have shown that this is actually represent an ellipse. All right. So let's see how to sketching the graph for this function, which is an ellipse. Alright, I just now have shown you that by doing completing the square, we can show that this equation is actually an ellipse equation in standard form. So, alright, so how to sketching the graph, as you already learned before. As you can see that the value of for this one is 16 and this is 9. This is bigger than this, right? So definitely this is your a square and this will be your b square, and the major axis will be horizontal because under the x the value is bigger, right? So means the vertex or the focus is on the major axis, the horizontal major axis. So for now, the first thing is the center. Okay, the center in this case here will be very easy. I have teach you before. So the center, if you have negative 3, negative h, negative k, right? So or you can say negative 3 convert become positive 3, negative 2 become 2. If positive 2 will become negative 2, right? So the center. So and you have a square, b square, c square. This is all the information needed. So your a square will be 16 and your b square will be 9 and your c square will be 16 minus with 9, right? 16 minus with 9, so which give you 7, right? So we can find the value of A, B and C. So the value of A here will be 4, and the value of B is 3, and the value of C is the square root of 7. Okay, square root of 7. So we can start sketching the graph and identify all the vertex, the foci and the length of major and minor axis here. So okay, we have Y, we have X. So at first we locate the center. All right, the center will be 1, 2, 3, right? 3 and 2. 1, 2. So this will be your center, right? This will be your center, and the major axis will be horizontal, right? Usually I will asking students to sketch the major axis first. Sketching the major axis that's passed through the center. So along the major axis here, you will have vertex and foci. So first we're looking at the A and the C. So A is 4. 4 means plus 4. So plus 4 we have 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Plus 4 unit. So you will, this is your vertex number 1. So I label here to be your vertex 1 will be 7, 2, and your vertex 2 also will be 2, right? Because they're on the same value of Y. So but go backwards, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? As the value of A is 4, so 4, 4. So you're reaching negative 1, negative 1, 2 will be your second vertex. So I label this to be vertex 2. And now I'm going to put the focus, right? The focus. So you can estimate the value of square root of 7 by keying in your calculator square root of 7 to be around 2.65. all right? We can just take one decimal places when we want to sketching, right? It's just a sketching. So square root of 7 is actually 2.65. So we can round off become 2.7, right? Or okay, sorry, is we can be round off become 2.6. all right? Round off, you are getting 2.45645. So we round off to one decimal to help us sketching. So we have 2.7. So we roughly know that this is around 2.7, right? In our mind. So 2.7 means that 1, 2, 2.7. So means that 1, 2, 2.7, more than half here. So we just putting here to be F1. But when we record in our, when we label it, we were still writing here as 2, right? Because they all, the vertex, the center, the focus all have the same value of Y. All right? But for the focus, we will write it to be 3, right? Start from 3. 3, we plus with square root of 7, right? This is the length of square root of 7. So I usually will write here to be 3 plus square root of 7 for more accurate. Never write in decimal. And focus 2, of course, one will be plus and the other one will be minus. Do you know why? Because start from center 3, right? You go backward negative square root of 7, 3. Right? So square root of 7, square root of 7. So you go back 3 minus with square root of 7. 3 minus with square root of 7. So you just estimate, right? 3, you can just taking the 3 from calculator, you minus with 2.7, right? 2.6, sorry. Minus with is around 0.4. If you take 3 minus with 2.7, square root of 7 is around 0.4, right? So it's around here. So I just label it to be F2. But I know that 3 minus square root of 7 is around 0.4, right? But I have written here with the third form, right? For more accurate. So now I have known that square root of 7, and the A will be 4 and 4. So now go for the vertical, the minor axis here. But the minor axis, I never label V. I never. There are no focus on the minor axis. So we never label vertex, but we look at the value here, 3. So 3 means that from 2 add 3, right? add by 3, so you're getting 5. 3, 4, 5, right? 5. So around here, so 5, and this is 3. The length is 3 from 2 up to 5. So going down 3, so will be -1, right? -1 somewhere around here. So then we know where is the ellipse, right? If you sketch the ellipse will be in this location here. Right? This will be your ellipse for this. Means that by this general equation, I have converted standard form. From standard form, I get all the information and I can sketching the ellipse for this, right? So as you know that you can see from here that all the major axis, the minor axis, right? You have your vertices and you have your foci, right? Your vertices, and this is your foci. And of course, you can know also the length of major and minor axis. Length of major axis, which is equals to, this will be the major axis, right? Where's the vertices and focus. So, so the length of major axis is 2 times, right? 4. So which will be 8 unit. And the length of minor axis will be equals to 2 times 3, right? Which is 6, right? 3, so 2 times 3, we have 6. Length of minor, length of major, the focus length, right? So I think for this video, I have already shown you how to sketching the graph. Start from the general equation of the ellipse. Alright, see you on the next video for another type of ellipse.